Good afternoon from Recording Studio Oxford, Carl. We can wave goodbye to the previous story with some relief, frankly. Much prefer this one. In fact, this is one of my favorites in the whole of the Jungle Book. It's called The King's Ankus, and properly it involves our friends Mowgli and Kaa. Kaa, the big rock python, had changed his skin for perhaps the 200th time since his birth, and Mowgli, who never forgot that he owed his life to Kaa for the night's work at Cold Lairs, which you may perhaps remember. Carl, that will be when Kaa helped save Mowgli from the monkeys. Mowgli went to congratulate her. Skin changing always makes a snake moody and depressed till the new skin begins to shine and look beautiful. Kaa never made fun of Mowgli anymore, but accepted him, as the other jungle people did, for the master of the jungle, and brought him all the news that a python of his size would naturally hear. What Kaa did not know about the middle jungle, as they call it, the life that runs close to the earth or under it, the boulder, burrow, and the tree bow life, might have been written on the smallest of his scales. That afternoon Mowgli was sitting in the circle of Kaa's great coils, fingering the flaked and broken old skin that lay all looped and twisted among the rocks, just as Kaa had left it. Kaa had very courteously packed himself under Mowgli's broad bare shoulders so that the boy was really resting in a living armchair. Even to the scales of the eyes it is perfect, said Mowgli under his breath, playing with the old skin. Strange to see the covering of one's own head at one's feet. Ah, but I lack feet, said Kaa, and since this is the custom of all my people, I do not find it strange. Does thy skin never feel old and harsh? Then I go and wash, Flathead. But it is true in my great heats I have wished I could slough my skin without pain and run skinless. I wash, and also I take off my skin. How looks the new coat? Mowgli ran his hand down the diagonal checkerings on the immense back. The turtle is hard at back, but not so gay, he said, judgmatically. The frog, my name-bearer, is more gay, but not so hard. It is very beautiful to see, like the mottling in the mouth of a lily. It needs water. A new skin never comes to full color before the first bath. Let us go bathe. I will carry thee, said Mowgli, and he stooped down laughing to lift the middle sections of Kaa's great body, just where the barrow was the thickest. A man might just as well have tried to have lived to heave up a 2-foot water main, and Kaa lay still, puffing with quiet amusement. Then the regular evening game began. The boy in the flush of his great strength, and the python in his sumptuous new skin standing up one against the other for a wrestling match, a trial of iron strength. Of course, Kaa could have crushed a dozen Mowglis if he let himself go, but he played carefully, and never loosed 1/10 of his power. Ever since Mowgli was strong enough to endure a little rough handling, Kaa had taught him this game, and had suppled his limbs as nothing else could. Sometimes Mowgli stood lapped almost to his throat in Kaa's shifting coils, striving to get one arm free and catch him by the throat. Then Kaa would give way limply, and Mowgli, with both quick-moving feet, would try to cramp the purchase of that huge tail as it flung backward, feeling for a rock or a stump. They would rock to and fro, head to head, each waiting for his chance, till the beautiful statue-like group melted in a whirl of black and yellow coils, and struggling legs and arms, to rise again and again. Now, 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 said Kaa, making feints with his head that even Mowgli's hand could not turn aside. Look, I touch thee here, little brother, here and here. Are thy hands numb? Here again. The game always ended one way, with a straight driving blow of the head that knocked the boy over and over. Mowgli could never learn to guard for that lightning lunge, and, as Kaa said, there was not the least use trying. Good hunting, Kaa grunted at last, and Mowgli, as usual, was shot away half a dozen yards, gasping and laughing. He rose with his fingers full of grass, and followed Kaa to the wise snake's pet bathing place, a deep, pitchy black pool surrounded with rocks, and made interesting by sunken tree stumps. The boy slipped in jungle fashion, without a word, and dived across, and rose too, without a sound, and turned on his back, his arms behind his head, watching the moon rising above the rocks, and breaking up with her reflection in the water with his toes. Kaa's diamond-shaped head cut the pool like a razor, and came out to rest on Mowgli's shoulder. They lay still, soaking luxurious in the cool water. It is very good, said Mowgli at last, sleepily. Now in the man-pack at this hour, as I remember, they laid them down on hard pieces of wood in the inside of a mud trap, and having carefully shut out all the clean winds, drew a foul cloth over their heavy heads, and made evil songs through their noses. It is better in the jungle. A hurrying cobra slipped down over rock and drank, giving them a good morning, and went away. Shh, said Kaa, as though he suddenly remembered something. So the jungle gives thee all that thou hast ever desired, little brother? Not all, said Mowgli, laughing. Else there would be a new and strong Shere Khan to kill once a moon. Now I could kill with my own hands, asking no help of buffaloes. And I've also wished the sun to shine in the middle of the rains, and the rains to cover the sun in the deep of summer. And I've also never gone empty, but I'd wished I'd killed a goat. And I've also never killed a goat, but I'd wished it had been a buck. Nor a buck, but I wished I had been a neeglai. Thus do we feel, all of us. Thou hast no other desire, the snake demanded. What more could I wish? I have the jungle, and the favor of the jungle. Is there more anywhere between sunrise and sunset? Now the cobra said, Kaa began. What cobra? He went away just now, and said nothing. He was hunting. It was another. Hast thou many dealings with the poison people? I give them their own path. They carry death in the foretooth, and that is not good, for they are so small. What hood is this that thou hast spoken with? Kaa rolled slowly in the water like a steam in a beam sea. 3 or 4 moons since, he said, he hunted the cold lairs, which place thou hast not forgotten. And the thing I hunted fled shrieking past the trunks to that house whose side I once broke for thy sake, and ran into the ground. But the people of the cold lairs do not live in burrows. Mowgli knew that Kaa was telling of the monkey people. This thing was not living, but seeking to live, Kaa replied with a quiver of his tongue. He that ran into a burrow that led very far. I followed, and having killed, I slept. When I waked, I went forward. Under the earth? Even so, coming at last upon a white hood, that is a white cobra, who spoke of things beyond my knowledge and showed me many things I have never seen before. New game? Was it good hunting? Mowgli turned quickly on his side. It was no game, and would have broken all my teeth, but the white hood said that a man, he spoke as one who knew the breed, said a man would give the breath under his ribs for only a sight of those things. We will go, said Mowgli. Now I remember I was once a man. Slowly, slowly. It was haste that killed the yellow snake that ate the sun. We two spoke together under the earth, and I spoke of thee, naming thee as a man, said the white hood, and he is indeed as old as the jungle. It's long since I've seen a man. Let him come, and he shall see all these things, for the least of which very many men would die. That must be new game. And yet the poison people do not tell us when game is afoot. They are an unfriendly folk. It is not game. It is, I cannot say what it is. We will go there. I have never seen a white hood, and I wish to see other things. Did he kill them? They are all dead things. He says the keeper of them all. Ah, as a wolf stands above meat, he has taken her to his own lair. Let us go. Mowgli swam to the bank and rolled in the grass to dry himself, and the two set off for the cold lairs, the deserted city of which you may have heard. Mowgli was not in the least afraid of the monkey people in those days, but the monkey people are the liveliest horror of Mowgli. Their tribes, however, were raiding in the jungle, and so cold theirs stood empty and silent in the moonlight. Kaa led up to the ruins of the Queen's pavilions that stood on the terrace, and slipped over the rubbish, and dived down the half-choked staircase that went underground from the center of the pavilion. Moke gave the snake call. We be of young blood, you and I, and followed on his hands and knees. They crawled a long distance and came down a sloping passage that turned and twisted several times, and at last came to where the root of some great tree, growing 30 feet overhead, had forced out a solid stone in the wall. They crept through the gap and found themselves in a large vault, whose domed roof had also been broken away by tree roots, so that a few streaks of light dropped down into the darkness. This must be new game, and yet A safe lair, said Mowgli, rising to his firm feet, but overfar to visit daily. And now what do we see? Am I nothing? Said a voice in the middle of the vault, and Mowgli saw something white move till, little by little, there stood up the hugest cobra he had ever seen, and a creature nearly 8 feet long, and blanched by being in the darkness to an old ivory white. Even the spectacle marks of his spread hood had faded to faint yellow. His eyes were as red as rubies, and altogether he was most wonderful. Good hunting, said Mowgli, who carried his manners with his knife, and that never left him. What of the city? Said the white cobra, without answering the greeting. What of the great, the walled city, the city of 100 elephants and 20,000 horses and cattle past counting? The city of the king of 20 kings. I go deaf here, and it is long since I've heard their war gongs. The jungle is now above our heads, said Mowgli. I know only Hathi and his sons among the elephants. Bagheera has slain all the horses in one village, and what is a king? I have told thee, said Kaa softly to the cobra. I told thee 4 moons ago that thy city was not. Twice and thrice have men found their way here, the white cobra answered savagely, But they never spoke till I came upon them groping in the dark, and then they cried only a little time. But ye come with lies, man and snake both, and would have me believe the city is not, and that my wardship ends. Little do men change in the years, but I change never, till the stone is lifted, and the Brahmins come down singing the songs that I know, and feed me with warm milk, and take me to the light again. I, and no other, am the warden of the king's treasure. The city is dead, ye say, and here the roots of the trees? Stoop down then, and take what you will. Earth has no treasure like unto these. Men with the snake stung, if thou canst go alive by the way that thou hast entered it, the lesser kings will be thy servants. Again the trail is lost, said Mowgli coolly. Can any jackal have burrowed so deep and bitten this great white hood? He is surely mad, father of cobras. I see nothing here to take away. By the gods of the sun and moon, it is the madness of death upon the boy, hissed the cobra. Before thine eyes close, I will allow thee this favor. Look thou and see what man has never seen before. They do not well in the jungle who speak to Mowgli of favors, said the boy between his teeth. But the dark changes all. I will look, if that please thee. Well, what do you think Mowgli will see? Join me again tomorrow, Carl, for the next portion of the King's Ankus. Love you to pieces.